So Bryce Young for the Carolina Panthers has officially been named quarterback 1, which it always just seemed kind of like, of course he is. Like all respect to Andy Dalton. I think Andy Dalton's going to be a great backup and a great mentor for. I love me some Andy Dalton. He's going to be a great mentor for Bryce Young, but Bryce Young's the guy now. So the question that we are proposing to the viewers, the question that I'm proposing to you, Mark Bergin, is how much playing time should Bryce Young get in the preseason?
I think he should play however long the starters play in game 2, because remember, there are now three preseason games, not 4 as there traditionally were. We have 17 game regular season now. So however long the starters are playing in the second game, which is when most of the starters traditionally play, that's how long I keep Bryce Young out there for. I don't even know if he should play in that first game against the Jets on August the 12th. Like, if his starters aren't out there, what I care about is what is his rapport with his linemen, with his skill position players. If those players aren't out there, I expect him to be like, yes, the NFL speed's faster than college. That's not a news flash, but is the number 1 pick. If he's not developing a rapport with the players he's actually going to play with, what's the point? And so the reason I say this, you don't want to get him injured. We know all about his size concerns coming into the league. If I'm Frank Reich and company and the Panthers, I might not even play him in the first game, depending on who else that's going to be a starter come week 1 against Atlanta. That's kind of how I gauge that. But the reason I was laughing, though, Lewis, you mentioned Andy Dalton and Bryce Young and QB1. Think about that great Bears tweet where they deemed Andy Dalton QB1 before Chicago ended up drafting Justin Fields. So that's a glimpse into the brilliant mind that is Mark Bergin.
I love Andy Dalton. No, I think I think it's all about context with Bryce Young. They're going to be holding that joint practice session with the New York Jets, which I think will essentially be worth more than a preseason game would be for Bryce Young. So you have that. Okay. I know, I do. Yeah, absolutely. Because that's probably going to be good against good. So I think that's worth more than a preseason game would be for Bryce Young. So you have that in your back pocket. I think there's kind of a balancing act between playing too much in the preseason versus playing not enough. Because especially when you have a group like the Panthers that are so new to each other. You have some carryovers, some people who are still there from last year, especially on the offensive line. But, new coaching staff, new scheme, so many new skill position players. The list just goes on. DJ Chark, Adam Thielen, Hayden Hurst, Miles Sanders. All of
entire roster
is so much. Yeah. So you want them to get into rhythm. You want them to get comfortable, but you don't want to risk them to injury. I think game 2, a couple of series, maybe a quarter max.
And can I say this too, Lewis, for people that are watching the preseason, and I can't wait to watch because, we've got pickleball on ESPN right now. There's not a ton
don't trash
to watch
pickleball.
Okay.
Pickleball's great.
But that's fine. It's like a war reenactment, and this is an analogy my guy Dave Damashek has used. Don't take away too much from the preseason because it looks like the real thing. It feels like the real thing. It has no bearing on how the regular season will play out.
0.
And part of this, too, is even if Bryce Young lights it up, maybe if he looks bad, maybe you take away something from that because the opposing defenses are playing very, very vanilla schemes. So what I mean by this is they're going to be playing their base 4-3 defense. They'll play their base 3-4 defense. You don't expect a lot of blitz packages, stunts, things that are a little bit more exotic that can confuse a quarterback of something that a defensive coordinator is going to save for the regular season when the games actually matter. So it's more so, hey, let's go out there in, very traditional setups, both offensively and defensively, and just kind of see what you can do 11 on 11. It's not like they're going to scheme. It's not like you're going to game plan for an opposing team all that much during the preseason because both teams are trying to figure out, okay, who are the guys on the back half that are trying to make the 53-man roster?
Yes. Well, and some of it too is, this they're professionals, right? So this isn't as big of a problem. Maybe it helps you out a little bit in like a first game type thing, but this is a new offense for the Panthers. There's going to be tape that coaches can review on what, like, what their offense might look like, but they're not going to know for sure. So you don't want to put too much out there
Mhm.
at this
Mhm.
point in time. I think that's a fair kind of presumption that the coaching staff, you know how football coaches are. They always think that they have like national secrets and they have to be careful not to reveal too much information. Uh,
Lewis, I'm going to do a full podcast where I hold my notes right in front of my face so you
right.
can't actually see what it is that I'm saying.
Yes, 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 yes. So yeah, I don't know. That's just kind of how I view what the Panthers got going on. They're going to be okay, but give it a little bit of time. I still think they're going to take away a lot more from that practice against the Jets than they will in the preseason.
That's fascinating to me because I mean that's the one thing you can't replicate is the game speed. But again, don't take away too much from any of this because like I think there's already enough over analysis as is from week to week during the regular season. Preseason, it's just like forget about it, Lewis.